The Pacific region, recognized for its beautiful small islands with pristine clear blue waters, sun-kissed shores and diverse cultures, is often how many imagine this region. And to a certain extent, it is true. But this vast region, spread over an area larger than that of Europe, has even more to offer than its world-class tourism industry. The Pacific represents one of the world's least explored regions, and Pacific Island nations are working hard to promote their economic development, hoping to create greater international opportunities for Pacific Island businesses in order to build a better future through more sustainable communities. In light of this region's untapped economic and business potential, the Pacific Islands private sector organization PIPSO, in collaboration with the ACP Business Climate Facility BizClim, implemented the Regional Cluster Initiative in the Pacific. The project targeted 4 Pacific Island countries, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Tonga and Vanuatu, with the key objective of supporting business growth through the development of pilot clustering initiatives in each of the 4 countries. The pilot project has since concluded, and a review workshop was held in Nadi, Fiji, to access the project work to date. During 2 days, the 4 country teams presented the progress reports of the pilot initiatives, and a further understanding of the importance for clusters was explained by key expert of the central team, Dr. Ifor Ffowcs-Williams.
Cluster development is fundamentally about business growth. It is fundamentally about wealth creation. It is fundamentally about job creation. So cluster development is a part. How do we engage as a team to support the growth of businesses, to support the growth of new jobs, to support the growth of our economy? And we can't do any of that by flying solo. Now finally, here in the South Pacific, we're starting to understand what are the imperfections on that, what are the issues. So how do we create more jobs? How do we create higher growth businesses? How do we create more economic success?
The Regional Cluster Initiative project was funded by BizClim, a program of the ACP Secretariat, funded by the European Union through the 10th European Development Fund. 932,000 euros were allocated for the 4 countries, and PIPSO was the beneficiary for the project. The pilot activities were in the coconut industry in Samoa, generic country branding for Tonga, information and communication technologies for Papua New Guinea, and cruise tourism in Vanuatu.
The reason we want to invest, or we encourage the development of the private sector, is to help these countries develop a self-supporting, sustainable economic growth, which is the basic for societal growth, so that these countries can, truly develop their potential and become self-sustainable countries on their own feet.
The role that BizClim played is important, crucial, because they're the one that provided the funding, they're the one that accepted our proposal. They saw that, yes, why not we pilot this project? So yes, we do acknowledge BizClim's contribution, and it's very important.
What BizClim is doing with this initiative is introducing to the South Pacific for the first time the merits of cluster engagement, the merits of a cluster development agenda. And I applaud BizClim in bringing here the knowledge, the pattern that we see right across Europe.
Throughout the 2 days, teams shared their learnings from the work undertaken and voiced their concerns regarding inherent development difficulties.
Some of the challenges that we faced were skepticism. Not everyone, because clustering is new to the Pacific region, and in fact, many people were actually ignorant of what clustering is. We did really have to sort of do a lot of explanatory and a lot of anecdotal demonstration of where clusters have been successful and why they've been successful in other parts of the world. As the message became more and more understood, then the people involved in the cluster development began to be creative and innovative about how they saw the PNG ICT cluster developing.
This workshop was vital for teams to share with other participants why clustering has to be further developed in the Pacific and how the private sector can play a crucial role.
This workshop is like going to connect PNG with the other cluster pilot groups, and we feel that with PNG's cluster initiative, we can be able to market our specialists back in PNG with the rest of the region, Pacific region.
I believe the cluster will actually create a platform. I think just like in every talent, we always look for a stage or always a podium to actually be part of development. And I think that's what the cluster is going to bring. It's going to bring connections, the right set of mind to actually create that platform.
Even though that I'm a volunteer, the cluster initiative has given us a platform to get that exposure not only within our country but also overseas. And with the work that we do in terms of mobile app development and web development, there are no boundaries. So it's quite exciting to be part of the cluster initiative and also come here to Fiji.
The cluster initiative in Samoa, we've chosen the coconut cluster and we've been working on it since March this year. It's a nationwide project. It's generated a wide interest in our country. A lot of stakeholders, we've spoken to the farmers, all the way from the farmers on the ground, the villagers, all the way through to small businesses, private sector organisations and government. So it's been very positive. People are excited about it because it's going to change their way of living.
Due to a successful clustering initiative, PNG's vision as the Silicon Valley of the Pacific is beginning to take shape and serving as an example and catalyst for other Pacific islands.
I do believe that there is huge potential for PNG to become the Silicon Valley or the ICT hub of the Pacific. It takes time, trust needs to be built, confidence needs to be built, but I feel that the foundations of the tripartite relationship that a cluster development needs, and that's government, private sector and academia, are there. We need to join the dots, we need to build on that, but there is a huge potential for this to really be something big for Papua New Guinea.
I think the Cook Islands could benefit from clusters because it is something that Polynesians and Pacific people are already good at, and that's working with the community, working in large groups, and it's the easiest way for us to implement social change on a big scale and doing projects on a big scale because it's working it's using our strengths.
The pilot work has clearly shown that this kind of collaboration activity does work, and that we ought to be looking together for second stage funding, and that maybe we ought to be looking for inter-island collaboration as well, because each of them are quite small. I really think that this is one of the only ways forward for many of the islands.
There's no doubt that the Pacific is a challenging environment in which to do business. However, this pilot has shown that the business landscape is evolving and clustering initiatives may just be the answer. At the conclusion of the workshop, participants were of the view that cluster initiatives are the platforms for innovation, productivity and competitiveness, thereby positioning small businesses in regional economies that will allow them a chance to compete in the local and global economy.